Alright, since I've got this car, I've been missing something important. A battery. I've been using an old battery the whole entire time, and it's basically been dead, and I've had to jump start it every time. So today we're going to put battery back in place, and then finally put the fender back on that we took off 4 months ago or something like that. All right, if anybody else is dumb enough to do what I'm doing, one thing that you can do is the battery that I got here is actually out of a 98 Subaru Outback. It fits just fine in here. And since this is a track car, I don't need quite as much amperage to drive things like nav and stereos and things like that, because that's all cut out of the car. And I got this battery for 80 bucks as opposed to 150 that everybody wanted for Sky batteries. So if you're doing something similar to this, go ahead and take a look at that. Fits right in here, locks down with the standard one. I'm just gonna have to fix that anyway because I need a full strap for track use, but a lot easier than, and well, cheaper than paying for a big battery. Well, I'm in here fixing up the battery. I'm gonna also put a battery tender pigtail on the leads here and here so that I got easy plug-in charging, and I'm just gonna zip tie that up over here somewhere so that it's out of the way, but it's easy to just plug in when I wanna let this thing sit for a little bit. All right, so these are just 13 millimeter deep wells. Zip them off. And then line up your plus to plus, minus to minus. Make sure little cap's on first. Battery protector that flips up here and covers my positive terminal. It's kind of in the way, so I'm just going to notch it real quick with some scissors so that this cable will fit, and we'll be done with that. right, so this side of the car, this fender's all messed up. And that means we gotta fix it. So that fender is actually sitting here. And you can see there's a nice big crack on the side of it. I actually still have all the original pieces for it. I have no idea what I'm doing with the fiberglass repair kit, but that's what we're gonna try to do next, is take the fiberglass repair kit, seal that back up so that we can put it on the car. When I originally jacked it up, I jacked it up from the side points. And I said, I'll be lazy and I'll do it from the center point. And now my jack won't fit out from underneath. So now I gotta get another jack to jack it up 1/4 of an inch to get this jack out. All right, so here's our fender. I've got a few pieces here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. This cracked off at some point before I owned it, and everything fits up together pretty cleanly. Like, it all just kind of fits in place, but all these edges are pretty messed up. So I'm gonna have to do is grind down all the places where there's edges with the sanding wheel, so that it's nice and flat. And then I've got a Bondo fiberglass repair kit that I think I'm going to figure out how to use on the fly here, and we'll see what happens. And if it looks like absolute crap, well, then maybe I'll take it to a body shop, or maybe I'll just get a new fender. But it's worth trying, because this was a heck of a lot cheaper than that. First thing to do, you gotta wash it all off. Well, this didn't last too long, and it's because I got caught in the cracks in here. So I'm going to switch over to a Dremel, much smaller, much more solid, probably less likely to explode on me like this. All right, so I got my first big crack all kind of cleaned up and sanded down. It said to give about an inch around the whole thing in the instructions. And I got to cut off some fiberglass stripping, you know, right in here and some down here. And then mix up the resin with the hardener in a cup and then sponge it on. And I think I'm gonna have to clamp this so that it stays nice and tight with the repair going on. And then hopefully, once that's in place, this whole piece will be nice and solid and I can move on to the big missing piece and figure out how to do that. It takes a couple hours to cure, so we'll see how this first piece goes. it's been a couple hours. Patch is dried up and it feels pretty darn solid. And you can see this little overhang here. I can actually lift up the entire thing. So trim that off, sand a little bit of this, and then we'll flip it over, do the back. We got our patches in, they're nice and solid on the back, and on the front side, we got one of them done. Flip this over, you can see that's there. It's very ugly right now, but needs to be sanded big time, and it's obviously sticking out like crazy. I put way too much on. That was the first piece I did, but it's holding well. Still got to do this crack all the way down here, and then you can see here, I left some unprocessed fiberglass there, because this little piece actually goes down here like this, and that means I got to build out this whole little gap here when I put this back together, and then I'll probably have to cut and grind a little bit there. So I'm going to do that one next because it's going to be the hardest, and while I'm at it, I'm going to finish up all this whole crack of stuff and all this stuff, and then we'll put this last piece on, which is right here, and then we should be good to go. I got the front patch all done, all the way up and around. Got to let this sit for a few hours, flip it over to the other side, do the back, and I can do the back a lot heavier. I went a little lighter because after doing this one, this is 4 coats, and it's pretty fat and thick, and I didn't need to go that heavy on the front, I don't think, where I'm going to actually try to make this look passable. On the back, who cares? So let's let it sit and wait and do something else while we're waiting.
3 days later.
All right, it's been a few days and all of my fiberglass is dried. It looks like absolute crap, but it is solid as hell. So it's holding up just fine, and maybe I'll get around to making it look pretty. Maybe I'll just stick a big Band-Aid on it. I don't know. But I think next thing to do is actually, for the first time since I've owned the car, put all the fenders on and put the hood on, and this car will be trim complete for the first time since I've owned it. Well, in typical fashion, I didn't realize that one of the mounting points is actually bent out of the way, and I got to take the whole damn thing off again to get it in place so that I can bolt up the one last bolt. Crap. We're all installed. Everything's looking pretty decent here. And now you can see how screwed up the rocker is now that there's actually a fender on it, and see how giant that gap is that got smashed in. But hopefully we can fix that. That'll be another video for another time. I'm not even gonna mess with that this year. Hey, you know what? Maybe we should go take this thing for a drive.